And then I had to catch myself. I'm like, Kim, how does the wealthy as fuck version of you handle this? It's about appreciation. Money is just energy. It is just energy that is a measurable form. You don't start at your business first. You start with yourself. Like, how are you structurally managing your money? The first thing you do is you save. Save first. It's the best principle. It's transfer into your savings first. Heal your relationship with money, like better your relationship with money so you have money working for you so you can get money in the bank. I help you manifest more money. But again, that's quite surface layer. Like, what does that mean? It's when you change your behaviors, when you change your thoughts, when you change your emotions around money, you actually start attracting more money in. The deep work is getting clear on and rewiring the neural pathways in our brain that is holding the beliefs that you need the structure for financial freedom.
Welcome to Swift Coaches Academy, a podcast dedicated to bringing health and wellness professionals the uncensored truth behind what it really takes to succeed in the health industry with me, your host, Xenia Wood. As an accredited exercise physiologist and business owner for almost a decade, I'm on a mission to transform the lives of ambitious health professionals like you who want more and are ready to take action to create incredible impact in your careers and unlock financial freedom in your business. So join me as I speak candidly with industry leaders about the struggles and successes from within the trenches through thought-provoking conversations. Welcome back to another episode. Today I have an incredible guest, someone who, look, let's just start with it's Kim K, who is part of a business coaching program as a fellow student, and that's how we met. But this woman is just so on brand with what I do in terms of your Zoom name when it came in was like wealthy as fuck. And I was like, yes. So I love that. And speaking of wealthy as fuck, being a money coach, Kim Kent, not Kim Kardashian, unfortunately. Not fortunately, you're way cooler. Welcome.
Thank you. Love it. Love the introduction. I know I quickly changed my name. I was like, oh, like it says wealthy as fuck before the recording. I'll put Kim Kent so people know who they're talking to.
Oh, I know anyway. Beautiful. So let's start with who are you? And a money coach is like something that I think is probably foreign to a lot of people. So like if you could explain what that is and what that isn't to give some context for what we're going to talk about today, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, because it's like, what the heck is a money coach? But look, and this is where the disclaimer comes in. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an accountant. And like what's the saying? Any advice is of general nature only and not to be used. I am not liable for your income claim, like whatever the thing is, right? Because we have our same business coach. And I'm like, what's a money coach? Because it's so broad. I feel like it could be quite a broad topic. What does it really mean? But look, essentially what I do is, and I predominantly work with women because stereotypically men don't really want to listen to women for money advice. And I'm cool with that. But like, if you're a man listening as well, by all means, like I'm here for it. But I help women, who are earning a decent income. Like you're sitting at 90 to 120K that you're either paying yourself or that you're earning, and you still feel like you have nothing to show for it. So then this is where the money coach comes in. It's like, okay, well, we need to I want to say heal your relationship with money, like better your relationship with money so you have money working for you so you can get money in the bank. So I do money management, how to actually manage your money through wealth principles. So I teach wealth principles and also how to rewrite the stories that you have running. Predominantly, they're actually like subconsciously running that you're not even aware about, that are keeping you feeling stuck with money, keeping you feeling like if only I had more, then I'd feel wealthy. So I do the mindset side, I do the management side, and then as a part of that, the energetics come in and there is the manifestation side. So I help you manifest more money. But again, that's quite surface layer. Like, what does that mean? It's when you change your behaviors, when you change your thoughts, when you change your emotions around money, you actually start attracting more money in. So probably the most long-winded answer for what's a money coach?
No, I like it. And I think it opens up the door to probably a lot of questions that are circling in the heads of
our listeners. So I'm going to dive into and come back to those. But the first thing I want to sort of caveat is that I think that the people and even the men who listen to me and to this are like so on board with the like whoever has the advice rather than, just because it's a woman, can't take advice from them. So I think you're in a very not safe space, I feel like that's not the word, but like a very open audience who are open to like, if you have the answers that I need, I don't really care what your gender is. So perhaps that's the general consensus of like men not listening to women societally, but I think that our audience is definitely open to that, considering that I am the female business coach, and we actually have quite a few. It's probably 50-50, if not slightly more males who I work with, actually. So the principles apply regardless of your gender, what you identify as. But let's start with so I'm going to start on the topic that like sort of grinds my gears, and I know that you have a way that to talk through this. So it's in terms of manifesting money, because I'm like, manifestation's bullshit. You can't sit in your bedroom and be like, I'm going to manifest $1 million. But I do understand that the thoughts turn into behaviors, turn into beliefs, turn into like what we actually do. So could you explain what manifesting money actually looks like in practice for you and your clients?
Yes. Oh, do you know what? I love this. And because I'm the science gal, and guys, you have to know, like when me and Zeddy met, we literally are the same person in the sense of like both exercise physiologists. That for me, that's a past life.
Yes, we should have started with that. Yeah.
We both studied exercise physiology, and I went down the road after, like when I did it like 10 years ago. I couldn't even get a job because it was the new degree, and then you just competed with physios, and should have spent the 4 years at the time doing a physio degree if I wanted the career, because there was just no jobs going here in Perth. And then where am I going with this? I've already gone on the tangent. I'm tangent, probably ADHD.
That's all right. Manifestation of money was our topic. Yeah.
I'm a science person. Okay. I'm all about show me facts, show me, like I'm the biggest skeptic. So I used to think the same thing. I used to be like, oh, this is manifestation shit. Like, yeah, let's sit on the hill and hum or and hope that somebody falls in our lap. So when we understand that this is where it's quantum physics, right? Everything in life is energy. It's proven. Everything is energy. So our relationship with money is just energy, and money just dictates our relationship with it. So that's what I was saying before. It's your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. So if you think about it this way, what manifestation is how you're choosing, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, to think and feel and behave with money is what's bringing the money into your life. Meaning whether you're repelling it or you're actually attracting it. So you're already manifesting. The universe, everything, like I say universe, right? Everything's all about the energy. So if your perfect example is if you get the electricity bill. In WA, you get it every 2 months, right? You know your electricity bill's coming. But when you still get the bill, you open it up and you're just like, fuck, or you feel stress, or you feel that icky feeling like I've got to spend money. You're literally telling the universe, like every time I get a bill, like I'm going to stress out. Like I'm choosing to be stressed, or I'm choosing to feel stuck, or whatever that like icky feeling is around money. And the more you do that, the more the universe goes, well, I'm going to provide what it is you want. So you're actually already, can you see you're manifesting, but you're manifesting the lack, or you're manifesting the stress or feeling stuck. Like you're keeping yourself in that. So then if you want to manifest more money, which is what everyone wants to do, we all want more money because it gives us more choices. We have to be the word you use is embodiment, or you have to have the behaviors and the emotions of the person that has more money, that has the abundance, that is open to receiving. Does that make sense?
It does. I guess the way I would potentially word that is like what you call manifesting, I would call like what we think, what we believe, and therefore what we choose.
Yeah.
So like when people feel, like if someone gives you money, if you feel guilty about that, then you're probably going to not want to receive more. So yeah. I'm on path with that.
Yeah. So and if we think where the science comes back into it, because we're a frequency, everything is energy. and everything has its own energetic frequency. So our emotions, like when we feel, our emotions broadcast out as an energetic frequency. And we know, like when we're in gratitude and when we're in joy, things feel lighter, things feel higher. Like when we feel that higher vibration, and we know when we're feeling stuck or stressed or frustrated, it is that lower vibration. When we send that out, that's what we attract more in. We broadcast out to receive more in. So that's manifestation is whatever you're putting out to the universe right now, based off your feelings, which are controlled by your thoughts and then supported by your behaviors. That's going to bring in that you're going to manifest that. So if you want to manifest more money, how do you need to think, feel, and behave to be that version of you who has a business that is on the multi six figures and on the high end of the multi six figures? If you're on a 7-figure business, or maybe you want to crack your first 6 figures, how do you think, how do you feel, and how are you behaving to bring that in, to attract that in?
Okay, and so if we talk like tactically, let's say that I am currently low vibration, things feel shit. I do see my bills and I go fuck every time. I'm like, oh, another bill that I have to pay. What would you do for me to start to change my thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to think and feel differently about money?
Yeah. So then this is where the layers come in. So you can do like more top to medium layer work, and then you have like the deep work, right? So the deep work is where what I do. There's a step I call it my think rich method. It's a 3-step process. It's similar. Like I evolved it from something I learned that was like 9 steps. I'm like, nobody has time to do 9 steps to change the thinking. I put into 3 steps. It's the deep work is getting clear on and rewiring the neural pathways in our brain that is holding the beliefs that bills cause stress. Or you could describe it, for lack of a better way, for bills cause stress, right? So there's a deep work you can do to change that, because you're running off the show like shouldn't have bills. Like we probably grew up hearing, oh my God, fucking more bills, more bills, more bills. But without the bills, we don't have power. We don't have running water, like stuff like that. But then you can do it's more surface to medium layer. To me, it means you have to do it more often. You have to be more repetitive. It has to be a practice. And it starts as simply, and this is why I don't normally just share this, because it's a bit, one, obviously being grateful, practicing gratitude. We hear that all the time. But if you come into my world, I don't just be like, you should be practicing gratitude, because you don't want to like I don't want it to be a fucking chore to practice gratitude. But if we do you see what I mean? When the trigger happens, so I open the bill and I'm stressed, right? Or the client cancels, or my revenue jumps. I'm just talking business because I know everyone listening is a business owner as well. In that moment, you need to catch yourself and be like, well, how am I responding right now? I need to change the way I respond. The version of me that money is unlimited and I have a bigger vision, how does he or she choose? Like, how do I choose to respond in that moment? So you can kind of self-coach your way through it, but that's more consistent. Like that's like, I want to run the marathon in 6 months. So, you have to train every day if it was me. Otherwise I would die, like in the first 500 meters of the marathon. If that's me, I'm like, can I even run 500 meters? I don't even know. So do you see what I mean? There's different layers to it.
Yeah. So just to touch on that. So you're saying like the surface stuff is to catch the response when you feel it, or you think it, and then are you trying in that moment to change the behavior? Like, what would the behavior change be to follow on from that?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm actually going to give a fucking great example, because this happened to me in Brisbane. When was that? A month? Has it been a month since Brisbane? That's what
Yeah, probably. Just FYI, Kim launched a book recently. So like she is a weapon. That's why we're in Brisbane for her book launch. So yeah. Congrats on that, just on the side note. But yeah, so when you were in Brisbane.
So I was sitting in the apartment that we hired out, doing some work, and been waiting for my accountant to sort out my tax. Okay, because we're also buying me and my husband are buying our next home, and we need to do all that stuff. So long story short, I got a $59,000 tax bill. Okay, 59, and I pay my quarterlies. But in the last 12 months, my business has grown. My gross profits have grown 312%. So those of
That's a woman who fucking knows her numbers. I love that. 312. You want to work with someone who knows money. They are not going, oh, roughly 300. That's great.
Look, there's a couple of dot points, but I don't remember like the decimal.
We'll forgive you.
And so look, I sat there and I had the moment I opened up, I was expecting way less because I was like, I pay my quarterlies, but I just had that growth. And those of you who pay your quarterlies, you based off your previous year. So anyway, in that moment, don't get me wrong, I had the fucking heart attack because that's a version of me. I don't naturally just have $60,000 bills to pay here, there, and everywhere. Yet, let's say, because I'm like, so the level of me first reacted, right? I first reacted like, holy fuck, now I got a 60 grand bill, super inconvenient, stressed me out. Oh my gosh. And it's 2 months away till the next quarterly, which is probably going to be around $20,000, blah, 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 blah. And then I had to catch myself. I'm like, Kim, how does the wealthiest fuck version of you handle this? It was in that moment, like I let myself feel it. Okay, I don't want to bottle it up. I let myself feel it, but I was like, this doesn't define me. And I look for the evidence where everything is okay. I say this because old Kim, before she did the work on herself and healed her relationship with money and literally did all the things that I now teach, I would have just, fuck knows what would have happened. I would have just been so stressed, so all the things, and it would have just ripple effect into my whole life, into my business. I would have become desperate. Sales would have been icky, all of that stuff. But I had the moment and then I was like, cool, like, is this even a big fucking deal? Well, no, it's not a big deal. And look, I'm on top of my numbers and I have the money there for it. I would just prefer not to have to give it to the government.
Yes, we would love to spend less tax, I think.
I was like, no, all of those things. So it was in the moment I had to decide, who do I want to be? Am I the woman that can handle this? Like if I had a 7-figure business, would this be a big deal? No. And all it was in that moment, it was cool. The more money I make in my business, the bigger the tax bill is going to be. Okay. By a percentage, by a ratio. Okay. So I'm cool with this. It's not a big deal. I can handle it. And it's fine. Like where old Kim would have just like poured the fucking glass of wine already. Like, let's numb this pain. So it's about like, that was a big shock for me. It was a big, like, video, it's got like the hand gestures happening right now. Yeah. So can you see how you get to choose how you want to react in that moment? So that's about becoming more conscious of it. And I have also done the deeper work to know that money is unlimited. Money is not the root of all evil. Okay. And so you see, so it's the layers going on. So I hope that was a good example because I think
that was definitely. And so with the deep work, I just wanted to touch on that. So is that where you were speaking earlier about the money stories and we need to sort of come back to where we've sort of held on to these beliefs that maybe don't serve us?
100%. So then this is where at the end of the day, our life right now, as us trying to adult as best as we can, it's like our reality is 95% our subconscious mind and 5% of our conscious mind on average. So if we look back, the first 8 to 9 years of our life, our brain is like a sponge. So we're born into this world. Here's the whole spiel. This is how I explain it, all right? It makes so much sense. You're born into this world, a blank canvas. Pure energy, light, love. We're a fucking little baby that we don't know what's up and down. We still think we're a part of our mother. Like we don't know left from right, etc., etc. We can't even fucking see for the first few weeks. Everything's just a blob. Anyway, as we start to grow and evolve, our biggest influences shape our reality, aka mum and dad, or whoever was the mum and dad figure. They're telling us, and then this applies to everything in life. So if you think business, think of all the other areas of your life. When it comes to money, they are telling you what's right and wrong with money by how they directly tell you, by how you witness their own behaviors with money, how they interact together and how they interact with other people. Okay, so in the first 8 to 9 years, our brain is this sponge just absorbing all this information. And when we get to that 8 to 9 years, there's something that is called, I always get this, it's a tongue, critical thinking faculty. It's super easy to say, but like my brain is like, how do I say that? Kicks in, and it's like there's a subconscious and the conscious mind. And what this means is how this looks now for us is, so I own a multi-6-figure business. If I'm like, I want $1 million business, I am a millionaire. When you could be wary of your critical thinking faculty is it goes, no, you're not. I've seen your bank account. You're not a millionaire yet. So you might want to like consciously like say the affirmation or change the belief, but subconsciously, you know, you're not a millionaire or you have other stuff running the show. So that's just how it works. So anyway, to continue with this, then what usually happens from 9 years old, your future is just a well-rehearsed past. Okay. So the thoughts that you have in the subconscious is what's running your emotional and behavioral responses or reactions like on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why consciously, and we can do all the trainings, listen to all the podcasts, read all the books, and it's like, yes, that makes sense, and I vibe with this and it feels so good and I want to implement XYZ. And then you get the tax bill and you still go down the fucking, oh my God, I'm so stressed, or why does this keep happening? Because you'd have some subconscious stuff happening, beliefs around money. So the most common ones are, I can't afford what we heard growing up. I can't afford it, or we can't afford it. Money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. You need to work really, really hard for money, which obviously there's a truth in it, but that's the whole working harder, not smarter. Like if I just hustled more and I just put more in, I know you and I are both that.
More. Yeah.
Yeah. And it actually, that's around money specifically. And then if we go deeper, and this is the work I do, it's actually, well, if there's money doesn't grow on trees, what does that mean? There's not enough. It's limited. It's not enough. I'm not enough. It actually starts to reflect the whole, well, I'm not enough. If you don't feel there's enough money in the bank, it's because you don't feel like you're enough, which again has come from your childhood. See how it like just goes deep straight away. Like,
and so like if we were to, maybe if I give you like an example of like my childhood and like if we could like, I don't know, like how would you attempt to unpack it? I think I've definitely done some work on this, but like, for example, when I grew up, I definitely heard we can't afford it. Like we would check the price of strawberries to see if it was available that week or not. And I think this is potentially common for some people too, but ever since I can remember, I would have like money in just a savings account just sitting there for the quote unquote rainy day fund, because my mum would, when I was like 16, mum would ask for money from me to pay for bills or things because we were low socioeconomic and didn't have a lot of money. So I think that shaped a lot of my beliefs. And I know that like I sort of was hoarding money and being like, oh my God, it's not going to come back to me, or I have to keep this. So for someone, let's say like I was working with you and I sort of came to you with that and I hadn't worked through those things and I was like, no, I have to keep my money and save it and whatever, what would you potentially, this might be a deep question, but what would you try and work on or unpack so that I can have new or better money stories?
Yeah. So, oh my God, my brain already is like, we have this area and this area and this area on this, because it's not just this one and done thing. This is why I bring in universal laws, which again, we can talk about that if we have time. Because hoarding, I was a hoarder. I'm a hoarder, but then I had nothing to show for it. So I was like the hoarder spender. Didn't know how I would spend, but I still seemed to spend. But I was like, got to hoard. And hoarding is scarcity because you believe that it's going to run out. So there's a belief. There's a few different beliefs at play, because there's beliefs based on you seeing your parents. Like my parents have to be stingy, or compare that. Like, why am I not good enough to get strawberries every week? Why do we have to do that? So that's what your little girl, when you're a little girl, witnessing that. But what you would do is, well, first of all, you need to get clear. Like, right, there's not just one. The core belief would be it's not enough. But how does that show up? So I always get you to write down all of the different things you heard and saw. Like what you just said, you listed probably about 5 of them. So write them all down, and then we actually work one by one to go through, and we like recalibrate it. So you said it was mum, and you can be dad as well, right? And usually we experience things differently from mum's side or dad's side. And then what we have to do is, so the process is get clear. So we pick one of those things, lines, like dot points, beliefs is the word I'm looking for, that you just said. And then we actually go back, like you sit there. In my program, I teach you how to do this yourself. So you would do it yourself. If you did a one-on-one with me, I would facilitate this process. And you go get really clear on, take me back to that time, or think of a time when you experienced that. Not just, oh yeah, it always happened, like we always had to change classes. Try and think of a time. All right. And even if you can't think, or you might like, I actually remember a specific time, don't really know how old I was, but I knew it was like primary school. I was not too young. Like, that's okay. And then we actually do the work on mum. it's not actually about you, because you're holding what you believe is a truth about money that was given to you, but it's not the real truth. So then we actually like take you out of it and we go, what was going on for your mum at the time? How was she struggling, or how was it a negative to her? Boom, 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 boom. We go through that. Then we work out, okay, so what was she actually gaining from that behavior or that belief, the words that she was sharing? And then we find the gain, and then we actually realize the real truth isn't that you guys didn't have enough of strawberries or whatever, not enough, or we can't afford it. The real truth, I'm just totally giving an example.
Totally fine.
Is mum wants to be able to provide for her kids, and she wants to be the best mum possible, and she knows that strawberries, her kids love strawberries, and strawberries, when she sees the joy in the kids' face when they eat the strawberries, she's a better mum. So instead of not being a bad mum at the time, if she says we can't afford it, or no, they're not on special this week, or she finds another excuse, it's almost like this is the example, she can get let off the hook for not being the mum who can provide, because she wants I hope that I just got tingles when I said all this, but and that's just one way of that it shows up. Does that make sense before I keep going?
I feel like I got it up until the last little bit. So when mum doesn't give me strawberries, that's because she's trying to...
But that's, I just made up an example. That's the thing. I can't, it's whatever it might not be the real thing. This lighting's fine. The beautiful sun's coming in.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I'm like, maybe there's just a glare on my thing. Okay. Why don't I give an example when I did this for my mom? And I know this is the thing, like this is not surface layer stuff. So I'm diving deep into this, into a podcast episode. And if we've never thought about it this way, our brains go, what the fuck is Kim talking about? She's on smack. Like, because you have a truth around like your little girl and your subconscious goes, no, we just couldn't afford things, or strawberries were just really expensive, or money was limited. Money doesn't grow on trees. So do you see what I mean? So I remember one of the things I did is my mum used to always say money doesn't grow on trees. And I was like, fuck, I can't remember an exact time she said it. She said it like fucking every day. I swear to God, like as a kid. But I remember after my parents divorced, and that was when I was 8. And she became a single mom who didn't have any qualifications, and it was really tough for her. So I remember hearing more of the money stress then. So I'm like, okay, well, I knew mum would have been saying it a lot then. So what was actually going on for mum? What is the real truth, that money doesn't grow on trees and money is scarce? Or, so that's the truth we believe. We need to try and rewire that truth. What was going on for mum? Well, she just was divorced. I know personally, like this is a personal story, right? I know it was really hard for her, so I know she was really stressed. So adult Kim, who's not been little girl Kim, is looking back on the situation and doing the work on mum. I can't look back from my little girl, because from my 8-year-old self is, we could never afford things. It was hard. Like I'm looking at it with rose-colored lenses. So I'm like, okay, mum, what was going on? How was she struggling? Well, she just had her heart broken. From the stories that I heard, she had her heart broken, so she was feeling... Look, there was all more surface layer stuff, but I got to the point of it. She was feeling unworthy. She was feeling out of control. Some more negative things, right?
Yeah.
She was feeling unloved. She was feeling not good enough, unable to provide, right? We can't afford it. I can't give my kids what they want. So I'm like, well, how was it a gain to her to say that? Well, long story short, when I did the work, I realized, well, mum just wants to be the best mum ever. And I did this work before becoming a mum now, and you always want to be the best mum. You always provide at your maximum capacity. So I'm like, okay, mum was actually just doing her absolute best and loving her children. So maybe for her to be able to say those things, that money doesn't grow on trees, it's easier to blame the trees than it is the fact that she lacks enough money to provide for her kids, to give them what they want, because she wants to be the best mum. So by blaming the trees, she's taking back control. Can you see how it was a gain to her to say money doesn't grow on trees?
Kind of like pushes it aside, and it's like, well, it's not my fault. It's because, it's because of this external thing that I have no control over. Which,
let's like step back. We understand, like as adults looking at this, you're like, oh, well, we don't need to take responsibility, all of that jazz. But my mom's capacity at that time when I did this work, she only had the capacity to blame the trees, right? Like as in money doesn't grow on trees. So it was easier for her to pass on the blame and responsibility. So possibly her kids didn't look at her that she couldn't provide for them. When I did this and I unpacked this, it's almost like you have this realization. It's like the love comes through. So it's like, oh my gosh. So the real truth the fact that money doesn't grow on trees? Or is the real truth mum just wanted to be the best mum possible in that moment, and her only capacity to do that was to blame the trees or whatever she would have said. She just said money doesn't grow on trees a lot. Do you see? And then you have these, it starts to be like, okay, it does the work in your subconscious. It starts to like rearrange. So, but I know me sharing this just on here kind of opens up a whole new way of like a deeper level of thinking about this and then thinking about this belief and X, Y, Z. But
which is good. Like, we're not going to be able to get through everything today, but hopefully, like, if we're like those listening are going, okay, well, what are the stories that maybe my caregivers when I was young passed on to me that I've just like taken on board? And I actually said this the other day to one of my students in terms of like self-worth, but can really be applied to, you know, money stories as well. And I think, you know, we kind of, as a kid, we have this like little empty backpack, and then like our parents put things like unworthiness into our backpack, and then they put like lacking self-belief, and then like don't have confidence, and you have this really heavy backpack. And it's kind of, as an adult, to go like, hang on, I think I need to like review what's in my backpack and which things don't serve me and which things can I take out and just put back down.
yeah.
And that's, I guess, a visual example of like unpacking this deep work that we sometimes surface level, we're like, oh, I just don't have money. But like, if we keep saying that, it keeps showing up in those ways. Or when money comes to us, we feel guilty or bad about it and we reject it, or we sort of like spend it immediately, so that we continue to reinforce our beliefs to stay in our stuck position.
Yeah, 100%. It's that like if money comes and you spend it straight away, like straight away my brain goes, okay, who did you see do that the most? Because you learned that behavior growing up. Who at 99% of the time, you can have, I should say this, sometimes you can have big traumatic events post that first 9 years of your life, that can cause like you might be in your early 20s, and it's usually, I've seen it, there's been like big divorce and for yourself and all of that stuff, big energetic ruptures in your life, but most of the time it's from your childhood. But yeah, I would go, okay, who was the happy spender? Who would just spend? I say happy spender, they might not be happy, but it was like but I had to buy all the things straight away. Like I think Daniel, my husband, I'm pointing to say, I don't know where he is, you guys can't see him, I'm like, Daniel was out there. He always was the happy spender. It used to fucking do my head in. We used to fight so much. But I know his childhood, the minute his parents got paid, the day they got paid, they'd have like the Red Rooster at KFC for dinner, and then they literally would be eating toast and butter before the next payday, or going to school. Like he went to school without lunches because their parents would just blow. Like I could see, trust me, I wanted to try and unpack this work on him, but can't coach your husband unless they are
they're open to it. Yeah,
they'll go somewhere else. But you could see the behavior came from, and then it's like, okay, well, let's work on mum and dad who did it more. Okay, what was going on for them? Can you remember a specific time where they blew money or just did it? And can you go unpack that specific moment? Because when you do the work on that memory or that time, it ripple effects. It's the catalyst for changing it everywhere else. So, and I love how you have the backpack analogy, because yeah, your parents kind of gave you that unworthiness. How did they do that? One of my examples is, oh, not good enough, right? It could be as little, this is little T trauma. It's as little as, and I had this, is my friend would always get given money for the canteen. And back in our day, we could buy we could have 10 cents and buy, they had the little smiley hash brown things. Oh,
yes, the potato smiles.
Yes. And we never got given any money. Dad would just not give anything. Mum would be like, it's because we can't afford it. And my friend would always have money for the canteen. So I can't comprehend, as a little girl, I can't fucking comprehend my parents' financial situation and bills and mortgages and all of this stuff. I just think, why am I not good enough to have money for the canteen? Why am I not worth 10 cents to get a smiley? That's one way. It can show up in all kinds of ways. But for me, that was a way it developed of, I'm not good enough. Or we can never.
Yeah, I find that so interesting. And then when you mentioned your husband, like I think about how this plays out for my partner too, and he's absolutely a happy spender. And I think his association with spending is actually like equated to love.
Yeah.
And so it's not out of, bad intentions or anything like that. But I know that he was like, oh, like we would always, or like also potentially associated with food, right? Like food makes him very happy because it was family time. We would be together. Like we get treats when we, after school or, once a week. And that was the time when he probably experienced the most love, was through the money that was spent or the food that was consumed that was like naughty or like, like the treat or whatever. And I think that just reflecting on that and going like, he's not spending, like it's now just, it feels to me, and you might correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like it's almost just like this unconscious habit of like, oh, I'm going to spend, because subconsciously that makes him happy, that makes him feel loved. And then when he does that in, for himself or for others, he's feeling that need that we all have.
This is exactly the core part of it. It all comes down to that love. Now, when we explain that, it doesn't sound bad. It's like, yeah, he gives love. It brings him love and joy when he gives. It's only a problem if when you're looking at the bank account and it's like, I want more to show for my money. And when we realize the behavior is the happy spending, it's because then we need to be like, the love needs to be cultivated without the behavior of spending. And then we look back at, where did this come from? Which parent needed to buy more love, for example? It's like, for a lack of a better way of saying it, but they needed to spend that they were wanting to feel loved. And then it goes deeper again. It's a ripple effect of the pay lands. They get their payday. Let's go out. Let's go do this and that. And it's, if the parents are doing that for the kids, there's a way that the parents want to, it's buying love in a nice way because they're feeling unloved. They're like, if I give this to my kids, then I'm going to get more love back, because our inner child is all just wanting to feel loved. So we'll have certain beliefs and behaviors on how to bring that to ourselves. I hope that makes sense. Because I was always a spender. Like I was always, before I did the work on myself, like I'd have $20 in my bank account and I'd still go buy clothes from Valley Girl because I would need more clothes. Because if I buy the clothes, then I will feel worthy. Then I will feel loved. But then I was sick of being broke. And I'd buy cheap clothes that I'd wore once that didn't even last. Can you see how, because I was searching for the love, for the validation, for feeling good enough outside of myself. And then when we bring it to money is a tool to be able to try and do that. So then this is why I do the work that I do, is like, let's get it within you. So you're fully stable, you feel stable, you feel good enough, you feel worthy enough now. So then you're handling what you have. So then when money comes in, it's not just a quick, well, I need to, like the behavior is to go spend it. It's, well, what's the bigger goal? I want to save, I want to compound, I want to make passive income, I want to make my money work for me. And then you're able to do that because you don't have these emotions running the show of like, I need to spend to make myself feel validated. Then there's the next layer, and this is why I do money management. I know we're conscious of time. Maybe we need to come back.
All right.
Another one around this. Then like, see, that's getting your mindset. This is like the mindset bubble / manifestation bubble, because it's your energetics with money. Then you need to learn how to manage your money, because if you don't have the management in place, you can do all your mindset. And I have so many clients come to me doing all the mindset stuff and they're making really good money. And they're like, I can bring it in, I have it there, but I still have nothing to show for it. Like I have the income, my business is doing really well. I'm doing 20K, 30K months, and I'm still fucking like hanging out for my next Stripe payment into like, because there's no management, there's no structure. So this is the masculine energy. What we just worked on was a feminine. And this is why it's a key component. And I'm obsessed with this stuff. And, us with our strong masculine energies, when I learned this, I'm like, fucking love this money management. Like it's not budgeting. Like what I can do is probably give a few tips to what people
would love.
But that's what you want. You need the structure for financial freedom. You need the structure in place. So if you want to build, I'll use this example for business, like you business owners, we want, so say right now we have the 10-story apartment or the 10-story building, right? And we really want to build a skyscraper. We really want to scale. Financially, like if we were to scale and build the skyscraper, we build it on the same foundations of that 10-story building. Is it going to be successful? Is it going to be sustainable? No, because that you need to change the foundational structure. So this is, I know you teach this, with having the structure and the setup in your business to scale. But we'll usually leave money in Pandora's box and we don't think about the money side. So then it's like, okay, well, how am I actually managing my money through my business and in my life? Right? So what is the structure? What are the principles to have in place? And every time I want to increase my income, I also make sure I'm like, okay, well, what does my money management, how does my structure look for the next 10K month increase or the next XYZ? And then when I do this, I hit the goal faster. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if we talk strategies with management though, like let's say that I have thought about some of my money stories and I feel like I'm getting a grasp on like, okay, like I need to change my habits to align with my goals. In terms of the management side, could you give like a couple of like really practical tools that someone could go and execute on?
Yes, 100%. And what I always teach this is what I'm going to give to you. You got to start with your life first. So half of my clients are business owners, half of them receive income that's either a wage or their partners, like they're stay-at-home mums and it's their FIFO husband or whatever it is. You just receive money. You have your own vehicle. Your business is just your vehicle to receive money. So you don't start at your business first. You start with yourself. Like, how are you structurally managing your money with this is what I call your life blueprint, your life money blueprint. And then you follow the same principles in your business, but keep them separate. Like if you're treating your business income as a wage, it's already fucking messy. All right. You're not the person who runs the 7-figure or the multi-7-figure business, they're not just using their income as a wage. You know, there's structures in place, they're organized and whatnot. So I'll give you, I want to say it's 3, but I think it ends up being 5. This is what I usually give at the start. To me, I don't do cookie cutters. This is why I have so many people who read the books, still come to me. But when I'm going to give something on like a podcast, it is a bit more cookie cutter because I don't know your personal situation. But the principles are the same. So the first thing you need to do when income lands, so let's talk about your life first. So in your business, you pay yourself your wage. If you're not paying yourself a wage, hint, hint. You pay yourself wage. I don't care how big or small it is. Anyway, you receive your wage. The first thing you do is you save before you transfer anywhere else. And with this, the second point is you need separate bank accounts for your different spending commitments or goals. You have to save first. So do the same when revenue lands in your business. You transfer to your business savings. So if you're a company, it's held in your trust. Or I can't, excuse me, I can't tell you what to do because you might have an actual savings plan or an investment strategy, but this is the money. You do it first. Okay. And the third thing is you use percentages, because percentages, you only ever earn 100%, right? So they're fixed percentages, but they're expansive depending on how much you're bringing in. And business does fluctuate. So you're not really on a set fixed wage or salary through your business revenue, I should say. It depends. You might pay yourself a set salary and that's totally fine. But when you get it, that's 100%. So you use percentages so you never overspend and then you allocate your full 100%. This is what I do where we get it down to your second decimal place based on your own lifestyle goals. But you save a percentage first. And I want you to understand the reason why, because I know so many of us goes, well, I got to pay my mortgage or rent or pay the business bills or tax man. You're putting all of these people and things before you, which if we go to the mindset is a stem from people pleasing. You're not good enough. Make sure you tick all your boxes, be responsible first, because that's the good girl or good boy budgeting behavior. But you have to save first because you're your biggest asset. All right. And money flows to where it's appreciated most. We know assets increase in value over time. So you have to treat yourself as your asset. So it's a do not touch. In your business, it's a company, it's a trust. If you're a sole trader, have a business savings. Okay. And there's so much, there's a bit more to it, but it really depends on your circumstance. But with your life, you have a savings do not touch. And you want to grow this to an amount that's a nice buffer. You get to decide. And then that's the money you make work for you later. But I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't give you financial investment tips. I'm going to share things that I do. But do you see what I mean? You save first.
So just a question on that, because I understand it in theory. And I know there are going to be some people listening to this who are like, yeah, but what if I don't have enough to pay my mortgage this week? I can't save and have money sitting there if I can't pay my mortgage. Would you be looking at them and going, okay, well, perhaps you're pushing beyond your means and we need to scale back, or what's the strategy there?
So there's like I have 20 different wealth principles, so 20 parts of the frame for your structure. So everything's covered. Like it's so much easier for me just to talk about your life. So you paid yourself from your business, okay? And that's your life wage you've just given yourself. You got a mortgage. You've got certain bills and commitments. So we do a process before this where we get really fucking clear on all the ins and outs, okay? Where all the money's going. It's the least sexiest part of it all, but once it's done, it's done. We do a bit of an audit. And then we work out what we have to play with. I can guarantee if you guys go and even just do 4 weeks of your bank transactions and go categorize them all up, you'll be surprised with how much you're spending on things you don't realize, because we're in delusion. Clarity builds wealth, delusion keeps you broke. This is my saying. Clarity on your numbers. Delusion is I only buy a couple of takeaway coffees a week. I don't buy that much in groceries. They're usually the big ones. And then you go add it up and like, I don't know if you guys have IGA as well. Here it's like the little supermarket that's not the big ones, that things are more expensive. You go to buy milk and bread and it's fucking $50 because you're doing these top ups, and you just want to get clear on your numbers to see where you're potentially overspending. Back to, okay, but I won't have enough for my mortgage. I'm not telling you to save your entire income. I'm telling you to I would say pick a number, a percentage between 0.1, because it can't be 0, and 10%. You never start saving more than 10%. Okay, and put that aside. If it works out $1, but we talk in percentages because it's expensive, but if say the percentage works out $1 of your wage that you put into a savings do not touch. Money is just energy, okay? And it is dictated by your behaviors. So if you're appreciating even the $1 first, it's going to have a huge ripple effect. Like, you're still going to cover the mortgage. We're still going to make sure everything's covered. And this made me think, this is a really good thing to say. As I was saying, you have to be able to appreciate the dollar. If you want $1 million in the bank, $1 million is 100 million cents, 1,000 million cents.
That's right. We don't need to go into the specifics, but I understand the concept.
Yeah. Okay, it's made up of all those 1 cents. If you can't appreciate the 1 cent or the $1, how are you ever going to get the bulk? It's like when you walk down the street and you see 5 cents on the ground. I used to be like, oh, I'm not picking that up. That's what bums do. Like, the universe was giving me money. I always pick up money now. Like, I'll always pick up money. I'm like, thank you.
I actually, like, literally maybe yesterday, the day before, I saw 10 cents on the ground and I was like, oh, I'm not picking that up. And then I kept looking and I saw $1 and I was like, I'm gonna pick up the $1. And then I saw another $1. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm taking the 10 cents too. Yeah. And I went back for the 10 cents. I was like, now I got $2.10.
Yeah. Because if you can't appreciate the small amount, like, how do you ever expect? Like, it's about appreciation. Money is just energy. It is just energy. That is a measurable form. It's not even there's not as much cash as everyone's online. So it's money accumulating in the bank. So can you see how you can still cover everything? You just need to prioritize the savings, because energetically, like, call it your self-worth account. Call it your
I love that.
Illustration. Like, I just call it savings do not touch, because when we first started this 5 years ago, my husband needed the note, like, do not fucking touch this account, or shit will hit the fan. So ours is still savings do not touch. We know not to touch it. We have separate savings accounts for travel, house deposit, all of these other things, but we have this, and this is what helped us save 100 grand in 2.5 years, and neither one of our incomes increased. Like, we still have the same income amount. We were able to, and we attracted more in. We had the foundations in place. So save first and make it a percentage, and you do it before you transfer anywhere. The bill companies are going to get their money. The bank is going to get the mortgage repayment. You're going to do that. You're responsible, but make yourself the priority. And this is an energetic behavior that will build self-worthiness as well. Because you're like, yeah, I'm the most important. I'm worthy. I'm deserving of that. Anyway,
awesome.
I'm talking about that.
I love that. And so we're definitely going to have to call it there. I feel like there's been lots of little nuggets. And so maybe to, like, summarize those, and let me know if there's anything I forgot. I think perhaps it would be worthwhile for those listening to have a think about the money stories that you sort of took on as your own, and thinking about how that parent or guardian, what they were thinking, and go through that with those. I think that's really powerful. And to be honest, that's probably worth a fuck ton of money that you've just gifted to us. So I appreciate that, because that when it's done well, I've done it before and know that it can be really powerful. Then you also spoke to like our surface work in terms of the practice and the responding rather than reacting. And then obviously those strategies to manage the money in terms of paying yourself first, putting those savings away in percentages. I love that. And then your self-worth account. I think that was really, really cool. Is there anything that I haven't done this in a while. I feel like I keep forgetting. The very last question that I like to ask our guests is if there was one actionable item that you could get maybe someone listening to take away from today, what would it be to help move them forward with their money?
It's the save first. It's the best principle. It's transfer into your savings first. So whatever you need to do to make that possible, if you have direct debits taking money out before you get to do it, like change shit up, get organized, take back your money power, but save first. When revenue lands, like when my business, I have a business income account. When the money lands, I am a sole trader. I'm transitioning to a company once I buy the next house. That's a whole nother story. But so those are a sole trader. Money lands, I have a business specific income account. Nothing comes out of that unless I transfer it out. And I save first. Do my other things. When I transfer my pay to myself, when I pay myself, the first thing we do, save first. I am the priority. I am the most important. If I want to lead my life, I'm a coach. You guys, you train coaches. You're a coach. You're coaching people with their fitness and all the things. You have to lead by example. And the same with doing your money. The same, like pay yourself first. Make yourself the priority. And it ripples effects. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you so much for spending I didn't realize you woke up at like 5 a.m. this morning to be here for this. So thank you. I was like, oh, it's probably like 11. Like I thought you guys were behind. Yeah. I was like, oh, she'll be sweet. It's almost lunchtime. But I know that there's probably some people who are thinking, shit, I need to see more, learn more from Kim K. Where do they find you online?
Yeah. So Instagram is a great place to start. Literally Kim Kent __. And if you go to the link in the bio, I've got a couple of freebies there. You can download. You can stalk me there. You can literally everything's in those links. Well, I'm sure you'll put the links in the show notes anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a free Facebook group that you can be a part of. It's called Money Hacks it's for women. You're more than welcome to come if you're a guy as well. Again, I have a lot of women in my space. And if you want to stalk more about like what I do, you can go to wealthyaf.com.au.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you so much. I really appreciated that. And the thing that stuck with me that I wrote down that you said is clarity builds wealth, delusion keeps you broke. I fucking love that statement. We'll probably like plaster that at the front of this episode because I feel like that is so true. And the people who keep their head in the sand are the ones who typically don't create the wealth that they want for themselves. So thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.
Just a quick reminder before you go, that link is waiting for you in the show notes if you are a health coach who is in business looking to grow or scale. We have options for both, and I am super excited to be working with a few individuals next year who are ready to take their business to the next level. If that sounds like you, chuck down and have a look at the show notes and you can apply through there, and I will talk to you one-on-one and we can figure out if this is right for you. I cannot wait to chat. I have a tiny favor to ask of you, and that is to just hit that subscribe button if you have not done it yet. If you've made it this far, then I hope that this has been valuable for you and for us to get more incredible guests in front of your earlobes and faces. If you're watching us on YouTube, then please do that now. And if you have any feedback or suggestions for me or something that was a golden nugget that really stood out to you in this episode, I would absolutely love if you flicked me a message over on Instagram at Xenia Wood Official. Until next episode, and in whatever you do, move swiftly.